morning, 6th grade. Welcome to Friday's reading class. You, of course, will need Esperanza. You also need your reading notebook today. Yesterday, you guys focused on Esperanza, the main character of our book, and you paid attention to actions, words, and feelings, and what traits those action, words, and feelings we could infer about Esperanza from those actions, words, and feelings. Today I'm going to be teaching you that good readers continue to think about author's craft. Now we've talked about this word a little bit, but author's craft is simply the tools and techniques that an author uses to draw the reader into the text and to communicate her message. So Pam Muños Ryan wrote this book for a reason. She has a message, and as we get further and further into the book, we should be looking for that message. So, authors use their craft to help the reader understand their message. Today we're going to be looking at something called motif, M-O-T-I-F, and you can go ahead and write that down in your reader's notebook. A motif is just a reoccurring object or image or word or phrase, something that happens over and over again that is used to tie different situations together. An important detail in the text that the author uses to help the reader understand the story better. I'm trying to think of a motif in another book that we've read. A motif in the Westing game maybe was the Westing house, or the idea of those purple waves that showed up across many different aspects of the book. A motif that we're not going to talk about today, but you'll find later in the book, is this rose that ties up many parts of Esperanza Rising. That is a motif. So, watch me as I think about how Pam Muños Ryan uses a motif to connect Esperanza's current situation in California to her past situation in Mexico. So we're going to begin reading on page 121 today. Okay. Remember yesterday we left off, she was practicing her sweeping. This is called Las Almendras, I think. Las Almendras, the almonds. Ay, my neck hurts, said Mama as she massaged the back of her head with her hand. It's not my neck, it's my arms that are sore, said Hortensia. It's the same for everyone, said Josefina. When you first start in the sheds, the body refuses to bend, but in time you will get used to the work. Everyone had come home that night tired and with various aches and pains. They gathered in one cabin for dinner, so it was crowded and noisy. Josefina warmed a pot of beans and Hortensia made fresh tortillas. Juan and Alfonso talked about the fields while Miguel and Isabel played with the babies, making them squeal with laughter. Mama cooked arroz, and Esperanza was surprised that Mama knew how to brown it first in oil with onions and peppers. Esperanza chopped tomatoes for a salad and hoped that no one would mention the sweeping. She was glad the day was over. Her bruises had been to her pride. Isabel took a fresh tortilla, sprinkled it with salt, and rolled it up like a cigar and waved it at Miguel. How come you and Tio Alfonso won't let me go behind the cabin with you? Shh, he said. It's a surprise. Why are you so full of secrets? Asked Esperanza. But neither Alfonso nor Miguel answered. They simply smiled while they prepared their plates. They ate dinner, but before they could slice a cantaloupe for dessert, Alfonso and Miguel disappeared with instructions not to follow them. What are they doing? Demanded Isabel. Hortensia shrugged as if she knew nothing. Miguel came back just before sunset. Senora and Esperanza, we have something to show you. Esperanza looked at Mama. It was obvious that Mama was confused as she was. They all followed Miguel to where Alfonso was waiting. Behind the cabin was an old oval wash tub with the one end of it cut off. It had been set on its side, forming a little shrine around a plastic statue of Our Lady Guadalupe. Someone had built a grotto of rocks around the base of the tubs. Around it, a large plot of earth had been fenced in by sticks and ropes and planted with thorny stems, each with only a few branches. Isabel gasped. "It's beautiful. Is that our statue?" Josefina nodded. "But the roses come from far away." Esperanza searched Miguel's face, her eyes hopeful. "Papa's?" "Yes, these are your papa's roses," said Miguel, smiling at her. Okay, we're going to stop right there. And we're going to talk about motif a little bit. So it looks, or it sounds like Miguel has spent some of his free time creating this garden full of Papa's roses, that the ones that hadn't been burned up in the fire. Remember, Papa's rose garden was very important to him. He brought them all the way from Aguascalientes, Mexico. So I'm thinking that's why he had to leave the train so often to wet something. It was probably those rose packages. And I'm thinking this is an important detail because it connects Esperanza's past life to her present life. These roses are constant. And this helps me understand that Esperanza is still longing for her past. Okay, these roses mean a lot to her. So I'm going to go ahead under motif, and I'm going to write roses, specifically these roses, connect, and then I'll move out of the way. Esperanza's past to her. Go ahead and get that written down. Pause it now if you need more time. Okay. We'll keep reading on page 123. Where it says Alfonso dug circles of earth around each of the plants. Alfonso had dug circles of earth around each plant, casitas, little houses. He had made moats for deep watering, just like he had done in Aguascalientes. But how? Esperanza remembered the rose garden as a blackened graveyard. After the fire, my father and I dug down to the roots. Many were still healthy. We carried cuttings from Aguascalientes, and that's why we had to keep them wet. We think they will grow in time, and we will see how they bloom. Esperanza bent closer to look at the stems rooted in mulch. They were leafless and stubby, but lovingly planted. She remembered the night before the fire, when she had seen the roses and wanted to ask Hortensia to make rose-hip tea, but she'd never had the chance. Now, if they bloomed, she could drink the memories of the roses that had known Papa. She looked at Miguel, blinking with tears. "Which one is yours?" Miguel pointed to one. "Which one is mine?" He smiled and pointed to the one that was closest to the cabin and already had a makeshift trellis propped up against it. "So it can climb," he said. Mama walked up and down, carefully touching each cutting. She took Alfonso's hands in his own and kissed him on each cheek. Then she went to Miguel and did the same. "Muchas gracias," she said. Mama looked to Esperanza. "Didn't I tell you that Papa's heart would find us wherever we would go?" Okay, so which details in this part of the text are important connecting Esperanza's past to her present? Go ahead and pause this video, think about that, write down if you can think of another detail that connects her past and her present. Welcome back. One thing that I was thinking is that Alfonso and Miguel are another thing that are connecting her past and her present. They're these constant people in her life. So I'll put Alfonso's family. So Alfonso. And you can go ahead and write that down as well. And that is actually all we are going to read today, because I'm going to post a video with this assignment that explains a little bit more about this idea of who Our Lady Guadalupe is. Okay, so they talk about this rose garden. In the center, you can imagine there's a wash tub with one side cut off. It would look kind of like this, okay? A little arch with the bottom cut off. And here are our rose plants all around it. But inside, that's a really bad picture of a statue. Inside of this wash tub, there's a little statue of a woman. And her name is Our Lady Guadalupe. And he put it in the rose garden to give Esperanza hope. So Our Lady Guadalupe is a figure from the Catholic faith. She's called a patronus, and a patronus is a person named in honor of a special guardian or protector. And many people in Mexico at that time believed in the Catholic faith, and they would pray not only to God and to Jesus, and they would pray to different saints or patronuses. Now, we don't do that because we believe that the Bible tells us to pray directly to God and Jesus. So this is not what we believe, but it's not bad for us to learn about other people's beliefs, even if we don't agree. And so today you're going to see a video about a church or a cathedral in Mexico that is kind of built around this Lady Guadalupe, and people go there to pray for her. They pray to her for protection. So it's just kind of, I want you to watch it as a way to learn about what other people have believed in the past and what other people are currently believing now. And you only have to watch the first 2 minutes. I think that gives you a pretty good idea of who Our Lady Guadalupe is. But if you're interested and want to watch the whole video, go ahead. It is all educational. Okay? So, as you watch that video, I want you to think about why might have that statue, the image or the motif of Our Lady Guadalupe is her name. Why would have that given hope to the Mexican people and to Esperanza specifically? So, when you're done with the video, go ahead and watch that video and write down why or how might have this statue given the Mexican people hope. And today, when you're reading your independent reading book, or any day when you're reading, I want you to think about author's craft, like a motif, and how it points to the message of the book. Okay, that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will post another video on Monday. Have a great day.